Hey, this is Todd Smith, MoneyFromApps.com. Today I'm going to try something a little different. If you get something out of it, we're going to continue doing it. So what I have here is the app developer submitted questions answered by, of course, me, Todd Smith, episode 1. So what I did is I sent out an email and asked you to basically submit any questions about current projects you're working on or things you're just sort of speculating about. And then I sent up a follow email and I was like, come on, man, like try to stump me. And I said that just to try to get some engagement and get some more questions, and I did, knowing that if I don't know the answer, I'll just reach out to somebody that knows the answer and relay it back to you. So, quit. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into it, and because this is the first type of video like this for us, what I'll do is I'll probably put like a table of contents in the video description and in the email, or however I send this, even if I do a blog post about it. So if you only have interest in one thing, you can go straight to that. But I do recommend checking out the whole video. I'm going to try to make it short enough that you can get all the way through it and long enough to where there's something here. So I would rather be a little bit more brief and you get through it all having follow-up questions and making some progress than sitting here and talking about one question for 20 minutes, which I could very well do. So the first question is from Jesse, and it's about competition. So how many competitors is enough for you to believe that you can have a piece of the pie? So just a kind of note about this, it'd be easier to answer if it said something like, how many competitors in the photo category is enough for you to believe that you can have a piece of that pie, especially for free apps, or like a price point, free or paid, or maybe a category, games or utility, something, because I'm going to speculate here and do my best, but it's hard to really know what you didn't say, I guess. Like the thing that you're trying to figure out, I don't know the specific app. So as far as what I do, I don't always need to see competitors there to know that I want to move forward. I use emoji apps a lot for examples, and I'm going to use them in these questions because it's easy to understand. So here's an example. I don't need to be the first person to publish an emoji app, and we're working on a new one now. It'll be out in about a week. We'll do a case study in about 3 weeks. It's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be pretty good. I don't need to be the first person to publish an emoji app. I also don't need to be the first, I would like to be the first person to publish an emoji app in a specific niche if my research checks out, if my validation checks out. And I've reached out, and I know that based on the demographic, based on previous apps, based on a lot of things that I'll probably talk about in a case study, I would rather be the first person through the door in an engaged niche or a group of people, so I can get that first reaction, the buzz, the shares. When I do paid advertising, I'm going to get the cheapest installs versus like if I tried to do Facebook ads for golden retrievers for an emoji app now, or wiener dogs or whatever. A lot of the cats, a lot of horses, a lot of things that have been copied a lot. Those people that I'm going to target using probably a lot of the same methods that they would use, they've already got those first cheap installs, those initial, oh my God, reactions. So I'm just going to be paying more and working hard and running uphill trying to get success. Whereas what we're about to release is going to be the first emoji app in a specific niche. We're going to use a lot of techniques, buzz and engagement, and things I'll talk about in the future to maximize our coverage without paid advertising. So when we go to do paid advertising, it's much more effective in that we have initial data to really dial in our demographic, location, and things like that. So I don't really know how to answer A without knowing your specific question any better. I do know that, I did a blog post that says, let's see here. So if you go to moneyfromapps.com/blog, on March 24th, I did a post. It says, video, embrace the competition in the App Store to make more cash. So I'm starting something new. So if you go find this blog post and watch this video, it'll explain probably what I just said in much more detail, and that should help you. Let's see here. Competition said it is too much, deciding to look for other areas. So using emojis for an example, again, B, if I was doing my research and I found out that, let's say it doesn't matter if you see something in the store, and this happened about a month ago, or you have an original idea, or somebody gives you an idea and you've never seen it before, and then you do your research and you're like, oh, it exists. So if it exists, it might be a good thing. It just depends in the context. So if it's something like a cat emoji app, you go in and you're like, oh, there's a lot of these. It's going to be tough to kind of stand out unless I have some sort of angle or influencer that's going to share, or maybe some weird buzz marketing tactic or something like that. So that would be too much for me. Whereas emoji apps, as much as people think about it, it's not too much as far as competition, because they're different. They're in different areas. So what happened to me, a more specific example, about a month ago, I came across an app idea from someone. They're like, you should do this. I'm like, okay, cool. A week later, programmer had like a prototype kind of thing. It was pretty cool. About a week after that, just trying to dial it in and trying to think about app names, and then searched what someone suggested and found the app that I didn't find originally when I searched that idea. So a week later, we had our own prototype built, or first version, whatever you want to call it. To find out that somebody else did it. Now that validation was cool to know that it exists. It wasn't exactly the way we were going to do it. I actually reached out to the developer, tried to buy the app, thought it might be cheaper, and just kind of exchanging information. So we'll see where we go from here. Maybe doing a licensing deal, but I think we're just going to continue with our own app that we originally planned to do. But we were moving forward with that app before we had validation that somebody else in the world ever validated it, or created it. Then once we already had it created and we found that it did exist, it was kind of like, oh, well, that makes sense. But it's even more interesting when that happens, and then you find out, like, well, why is this app not doing as well? Like, is it not doing very well because their positioning and marketing, or just their time or their resources, they didn't put enough into it? Or is it because what we thought would be cool isn't cool? Or is it because it's free and maybe it should be paid? Or maybe it needs paid advertising? Or maybe it needs to be marketed to influencers in a specific niche? I know I say that a lot, but it's true. So check that out, and let me see. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. So question number 2 from Steve: how do you validate your apps? Blog post on February 4th. How can I pick a profitable niche for an emoji app? Even if you don't want to do an emoji app, I'm shaking my head, because emoji apps are so, I know I really talk about this a lot, but they're so good to get in and test and get better and try and validate markets, because this could say how to pick a profitable niche for an app. Read the blog post. A lot of good stuff in here. What I mean by that is the emoji app can be, or the app, it doesn't have to be an emoji app, can be the start of something else. For example, we have two nurse emoji type apps. One's a builder, one's traditional. We have a lot of email subscribers for nurses. We have a lot of app data. If we wanted to launch some sort of, or partner, which we've thought about doing, either a large nurse following or somebody that is a nurse or a company that sells products to nurses, we would have data that would allow us, or if we wanted to like white label a physical product and sell to nurses, we would have thousands and thousands of people that have already told us they're buyers by spending $3.99 or whatever it was for our app, or $4.99, to now take that data, go in and not only contact them, but to find more people like them, instead of sifting through the hundreds of thousands of, well, actually the targeting for this was much larger, millions of nurses that don't like emojis. So it's not saying everybody that's going to buy something needs to like emojis, but it at least proves they're a buyer. So check out that blog post, and I guess my summary answer, or shooting from the hip, how do I do validation for my apps? I usually, you've heard the emoji example. If it's for a new niche, I go in and I find out, I use my intuition a little bit, and I start to compare, the people, or I always try to keep in mind who I'm going to target. I used to try to come up with good ideas and then figure that out, who's going to use it later. Now I don't do that. Now I think about who's going to use the app, or I can go after a specific niche and create something for them, or a demographic, because I've built so many cool things and seen people do the same and without success more early on, that it doesn't matter if you have something cool. If you're not building it for somebody and you know that they don't want it, or you don't know that they want it, then you can build something really cool and it'll stay real cozy with no downloads in your app account, or never launch, because people aren't psyched to use it. So it's kind of like, I'm big on paid advertising, but if people don't download it without having to be fed an ad to see it first, like if there's no chance that anybody's ever going to find or download your app, or I guess download your app based on it being of reasonable value to them. Like if you're building an app for nurses and you put your app in front of 100 nurses, there should be a reasonable percentage of people that at least go, yeah, that's pretty cool. They nailed that on the head. Okay. Then instead of building an app for nurses and put it in front of them going, well, what does it do? Like you don't want that. But as far as validation, a lot of times when I'm trying to build an app, like let's say, I have a photo app in my sites in the future. I've done this with like a lot of things. I'll go and I'll just constantly look at the top paid and free apps in a certain category that I'm going after. I'll start there, and then I'll let my mind wander and go, well, that's cool, but why can't we do something that does this instead? A lot of times it just comes to me. If you do a lot of comparisons, you'll see some apps do one thing really good and some apps don't, and over time you'll go, you can get an idea. I'm not trying to explain the way you can get an idea, but if you can't and you have no inspiration or no ideas, I would just go into a lot of those top apps. I know it's not groundbreaking, but I read the reviews, and I never ended up building it, but I did this a lot for a bingo app that I wanted to create a few years ago. We had this simple bingo template, and I really saw a lot of potential in the bingo app space, so I took the top 200 apps. I think most of them are free. Did an audit, Excel, like name, link, most, requested feature, most, most requested feature that it doesn't have, best feature that it does have, biggest complaint, and just did an audit completely of all the bingo apps, top 200 in the store, and found out and built like a real big, solid, clear picture of what exactly a perfect bingo app would be, based on all the top apps. Like, hey, I could just put a bunch of these pieces together and create a better app than any of these. Never ended up doing it. Had too much going on at the time. But even if I had, it still might not have worked unless I really knew how I was going to get the best bingo app ever in front of all the bingo people that already had a bingo app and thought it was good enough. So that was a little bit more before my paid acquisition days. Now I'm sure we could dial that in a little bit more, but the method of going out and doing an audit of the market or the category, like if you want to do a photo app, go know everything there is about every top 200 app, free, paid, in the store right now, and what they're doing good and what they're doing bad, and you can exploit that and make a really cool app. It might not even be as complicated as having to make something completely new and a combination. It could be as simple as taking an app that's too feature filled and breaking it into just a little piece of it. So if it does 4 things really cool or 3 things really cool, maybe the best feature in that app based on the reviews and based on your user experience is one thing. Just do one thing. Some apps are almost too good because they have too many features and people get confused. So I'm going to move on to question 3. Okay, getting some momentum now. Question 3 from Steve. He had 2. So can you still make money with casino apps? Is A, absolutely. So blog posts, it was back last year, November 29th, did a lot of posts like this. Is it still possible? How is it still possible to earn such great revenue with casino apps? 50,000 a month testimonial from casino slot machine apps. I think there was one more post I wanted to share, but I didn't. It was like, let me see if I can find it. So the answer is yes, because you can either have a really cool casino game with a back end like the Top Dogs that has really good math and automatic messages and upsells and downsells and email communications and push notifications and a lot of things triggered based on their large amount of data. Or you can feed them users and get paid a lot of money, because there was a lot of these posts last year. Because they're going to pay top dollar to get these users, and I probably go over that here. What I'm saying is, $5 a user, they know they're going to make 8, so they're going to pay 5. So if you have a vehicle to display high payout ads like another casino game, and you know how to filter and do things completely in compliance with Chartboost by filtering, I know sometimes it sounds like it's illegal or something, but it's absolutely not. There's one, I don't want to, he is a customer, but I know he does a lot of his own stuff, and he's sold portfolios in the past, real successful. A guy named David. He has our Mega Jackpot slots template, and he does it with many other games. I'm not going to reveal his username or his last name, but he's on Flippa, and I think what he's got really good at, what did I even talk about here? This is a good blog post. This pretty much, I think, goes over it's possible to earn such great money in apps because of everything I just said, and because no one thinks you can. and the new cleansing wave of Apple got rid of a bunch of old apps, so they still need inventory, right? So those other games still need inventory. So read this blog post. Go to the MoneyFromApps.com/blog and find this blog post. But there's also another angle. It's a good blog post too, and that is, I don't know if I'm looking at, yeah, this is the one. So this is similar to what, this is, I'm not going to say anymore, but you can get a game reskinned, get it profitable, and then sell that app outright on something like Flippa, and then you're profiting from the app, the ads that, the money that you generated from the ads, and then you're generating, or you're profiting from the actual app sale. Then you can do it again, and then it's just it's an interesting model. And the person, I mean, if you check out these apps on Flippa, you're going to see who sold them and understand, and you start to paint a picture here of what's possible. You're also going to see total transactions that this person has sold, and you'll understand how serious I am about this. It's I think it's multiple six figures. So yes, you can still make money with casino apps. You can make money with casino apps being a top casino app, a free app in the store, which is going to take more money to create. Or if you want to create a reasonable game, a lot of the Mega Jackpot slots type games, you can still earn revenue. Excuse me. In-app purchases, but you're going to get quite a bit more revenue by displaying ads. And the part that I didn't bring up is there's a guy named Ray. There's also a customer, and I think he works a little bit with David, and there's a few other guys, but they've found out how to not only generate really high eCPMs, and we did on the publishing side. We were able to get pretty high eCPMs and filter our ads in the past, but what I never really dug into, spent $300 or $400 on Chartboost advertising, but I was more into Facebook, so very, very little, I guess, on Chartboost, but they're able to actually buy installs on Chartboost on an advertising side, and then they're arbitraging. It's crazy you can do this. You're arbitraging straight on Chartboost. So if you put like $500 in Chartboost or $100 in Chartboost, I think it might be $150 you have to for an ad campaign. I don't know, but so let's say it's like $200 in Chartboost ads, and they're able to buy installs using their own creative in their own game, and then they're displaying Chartboost ads on a publishing side, highly filtered, the best video ads they're showing. Then the 200, I mean, on a low end, let's say, they generate $300. Now they're paying for their 200 in ads, and they have $100. Now it's back in their Chartboost earnings section. They can then transfer the earnings that they just made the 100 back in to the whole thing. I mean, so it'll come up in earnings. So let's say spent 200, generated 300, and a lot of times it's much more than that. It's like spend 200, make 500. So the $500 now is in your Chartboost account. You transfer it over to the advertising side. Now you have $500. Now you spend $500, you generate $800. That's what they're able to do. It's not even like using Facebook to push traffic to an app. It's all in Chartboost. It's very impressive. And if you want more information on that, he did contact me, and he has a he has a training program that we're probably going to launch alongside Mega Jackpot Slots, or a standalone here soon. So if you want any information on how to make money with Chartboost ads, whether it's actually generating installs with the advertising or generating revenue with the publishing side of ads, let me know, and I'll make sure that you're one of the first ones to get access to that course. So thanks a lot, Steve. And I didn't think, so thanks a lot, Jesse. Let's move on. Oh, and the techniques for the chart boost is in kind of what I was talking about, but would mainly be in David's course because he's an expert on generating, not only, like I said, generating installs, but also monetizing them too. So question 4, Ian, maybe I'm not pronouncing that very well. I'm not very good with names. So app reviews. So he says, I think it's he. I'm getting good iOS ratings in my emoji app, average 4-star. I think it's because of where the position in the rating request, but a few comments are terrible, most 1 stars. Is there a good way to... Let's break this up real quick. So the first part, I understand that a lot of people in the past, and I'm not saying it doesn't work good, but you'd be like, you display something that says, hey, you know, it's even like a graphic interface, non-iOS or standard. It's like, hey, are you enjoying this app? If it says no, it goes to a support email. It's like, how can we help you? Blah, blah, blah. If it says yes, I mean, some of it's not even in compliance now to do, but if you say yes, it's like, well, please rate us 5 stars or whatever it is, and they put up this fake thing, and then when you click, I'm not saying it's fake like it's gaming the system, but it's priming you to leave a good review. So it's like, hey, do you like the app? No? Well, send us an email and whatever, and we'll try to fix it. Yes, now you can go to the store. Now that would then take you to the normal app review, and then Apple does this new thing, and it's not necessarily new, maybe a year now, I don't know what it is, but you can implement it. It's like 1 line of code, I think. We have it on a few of our apps, and it automatically displays periodically the review, the standard one that you see with iOS, and it just has like the stars, and you can click and rate the stars, and then it takes you to the store and you can add a comment. So I recommend you use that, because I've seen apps that probably used to have hundreds of reviews, or less than 100 now have thousands, not tens of thousands, because they implemented this 1 line of code, or this thing that Apple built. So it's no longer this complicated thing where you have to do all these screens and try to like prime people. I think that's the best way to do it, because overall you're still going to get people that are awful, right? That leave awful reviews, but what'll make up for that is all the people that like the app and they're reasonable, that will delete the bad reviews. So if you get a few negative ones, you're gonna get hopefully get 100 that say it's great, and it'll average out, and it'll look, excuse me, it'll look authentic because they're not all 5. So if you don't know what that's about, I don't know, Google Apple review automatically. Apple rate app review. Here we go. So this isn't going to give you, this is probably an old article, but App Store now requires user. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So if you get this, instead of doing your custom screen or whatever it is, you'll get this up multiple times to the same person. It's not that they get more than 1 vote, but I'm saying you're going to get a lot of the people that are leaving the bad reviews are still going to leave the bad reviews because some people are just awful and they don't understand, or they're trolls. But a lot of the people that don't know how to leave a review, or don't know that they should be leaving a review, are now going to get presented with the opportunity to give you these 4 and 5s. They're going to water down all the other people. So Google this official review thing. Again, I've seen this work very well for people, and that should help with this. So then you're asking, is there a good way to encourage people to leave a good comment when they're actually using iMessage or the keyboard? Well, with emoji apps, excuse me, the tough part about a lot of the standard emoji apps is you don't really use the app much once it's installed. So that's going to cut down on reviews like this, because this is not going to come up when you're using the keyboard. So the people, I guess that is sort of a problem, that are going to leave your reviews are the ones that go out of their way to find the way to leave you a review. So I don't know if it's in compliance, but you could add like a button on the keyboard above where you swipe that says rate app, and you might actually, I know you can, again, I don't know if they're going to flag it. We did it on a client's app. You could add a button there, and when they click the button, it actually calls the API to request ratings that Apple does. So I know that theirs is mostly automatic, but we can hook it with this same screen. So it could be like above the keyboard when you're swiping. iMessage, I know you can put buttons, so you can do it there as well. You can put it on kind of like the header before you swipe up, because some of the early apps we did and saw had in-app purchases in the on the keyboard and in iMessage. You can create buttons. So if you need help with that, or you need a developer to do it, let me know, and we can probably get you hooked up with that. So thanks a lot. Moving on. Question 5, app mindsets. This is from Gary. So this is a good one. Is it really from Gary? That's kind of the reason. I think it's from Gary. Let me look at this. The reason I say that is because I mentioned Gary V, so it was just, I thought maybe I just wrote that here. No. It's not from Gary. I knew that wasn't right. There. Okay, so from, I think that's right. I'm not going to open up the email. So GY okay, so do you believe there's a specific app developer, app publisher mindset? It doesn't seem to be the typical hustle, grind of the digital marketing world. What do you think? So I needed a little confirmation on this. So I said, so I understand what you mean on the hustle and grind and the digital marketing side, like Gary V type stuff. So if you don't know who Gary V is, find him on Facebook, because Gary, yeah, he's like, okay, I don't know why that's not coming up there. So check him out. He's putting out content constantly. I think he has people that follow him around. I mean, he's got some sort of an agency, and I mean, I'm probably not the best person to summarize everything he has, but he has multiple businesses, probably a lot of revenue. So he's doing that on a high client level. He does speaking engagements and everything else, but he also, in these interviews and podcasts. So he makes a lot of money, like I'd say on the high corporate level and branding and all this, but he also is marketing to a generation, I think, of younger entrepreneurs about hustle and everything else, where it's like grind. He's like, there's not overnight success. Like, you got to put in the work. You have so many opportunities these days, and he's right. Like, you can just hop on your phone and start building a following on something. So that's what he's talking about on the app marketing, or on the typical internet marketing. So then he says, Todd, that's exactly what I mean. If my mind has been in the digital bucket for a while and I attempt to step in the app side, I don't want to hit any unnecessary walls due to mindset. I think I'm going to pause it and find something that I can show you. Okay, so what I'm going to say here, just to start out, man, I got to find one more thing. Hold on. Okay, so this is a really good one. It's, first of all, these questions are much, I spent a little more time, I think, initially on these videos, so it's probably going to be something like a 30 to 50 minute video or something like that. And again, it'll have a table of contents. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm real passionate about this stuff. and it's really cool when a question reflects something I've hit, and I can sort of show you that and relay where that information is and give an update, because some of it's been posted a while back. So starting out, I think initially you're going to be at an advantage coming from the digital space, because I think there's so many things that the people on the app side are not doing yet. And I don't mean the big brands, I mean like the middle to small developers. And by big brands, I mean millions and millions in revenue. By mid to small, I mean mid would be doing it full time, maybe multiple six figures. Small might be under six figures, still doing it on a side gig. And extremely small would be, just stepping into it. And I don't mean I just mean when I say that a lot of people aren't doing this in the small to mid, it means you can be making $500,000 a year in apps and being I've met people that are doing extremely well, but then and this isn't way better than me, and it's because they only do a few things. So they don't try to do everything right, they try to do a few things. And then when you find out they haven't done, like, oh, we're thinking about getting into Facebook analytics, like installing the SDK. It's like, man, you haven't installed the SDK yet. So what I'm saying is, so many people are focused on the way that things used to be, but on the app, on the digital marketing side, people, when you think of like entrepreneurs, there's a side of it like I like, and it's more independent, and there's a side of it to where it's more like the creative and the corporate. So that the companies that the corporate larger corporate America hires to do creative work, things like that, where you're still interacting with corporate America. When you think of like local businesses and entrepreneur meetups in your city, those are the people doing like brick and mortar and photography and marketing and video production and things like that. They're hooked and tied into corporate. They still have this middle ground of doing things that that have the corporate advantages. So there's some things that the corporate does way better than I think the entrepreneur side, and there's things that they can do that are on the other side of that. So it's this cool hybrid. But app developers, a lot of them, including myself, early on, it's like, oh, all we have to do is create an app and publish the store, and that's it. It's like there's no getting customer information. There's not as much research. There's not follow-up. There's not existing or overall updates. There's not as much market research. It hasn't come over yet as much, I don't think. And that's why, man, I got to find one more post for you. Because oh man, this is going to be big. At least exciting to talk about. So the first thing I'll talk about, I know I've said that like 100 times, but what I mean, that was the introduction. So if you're already into the whole hustle thing, and you know it's going to take hard work, and you're probably not going to have an overnight success, then again, you're going to be at an advantage, because I have tried to convince a lot of the people that see this video and see the emails and see the blog posts that we need to bring more over from that side of it to be successful in the long run and build real brands versus just putting out whatever. And I haven't had much success with it so far. And I mean, I haven't had much success convincing people that we should be doing things a little bit more, I don't want to say elaborate, but just putting a little more effort into it. So here, this is kind of funny. So here's a blog post back from October of 2016. And I went to this, I use lead pages, and I did then, I still do. I know there's a lot of other options out there, but I went to this Converted 16, this conference. And I said, why app developers should pay attention to internet marketing. Read the blog posts. I love a lot of these people I got to see, and a lot of the people on podcasts I follow are on the other side of it, affiliate marketing and digital marketing, course sales, all these things. And this is what they talk about all this stuff. The big brands in the app space, like the casino games and some of these fitness apps, subscription apps, weight loss apps, recipe apps, they're doing a lot of these things. They're doing email lists, they're doing upsells, they're doing subscription, they're doing cross promotion. They're building brands. The app is just a piece of it. So just read through this, and I just essentially say, why we need to be paying attention, because there's more involved. Like anymore, it drives me nuts. Here's an example. I have an app that I have a set of apps that have gotten collectively about 600,000 downloads, free, very poorly monetized, early apps in a niche that's legit. But it was early on, a lot of them before push notifications, and a lot of the certificates expired. So I have 500,000-600,000 people, should have been a paid app by the way, that care enough to download, to search, because it's not something you would just see on like Apple's site, to search, to scroll through, to find the app, to download. But I have no way of contacting them, because a lot of those, I didn't even have the Facebook SDK because it was so long ago. And it was something I had missed, and so I have no way of contacting literally 500,000, it's more than 500,000 people that I know that if I had their email list or I had something, if I could launch a new app in that niche in a day after it was live in a paid app, it would be shooting at the top of the charts or something. So I've learned my lesson on that, in knowing that we need to have different you don't just need an app download. I don't care if it's paid. You need contact information. You need like a central, like a Facebook page. Now, if I was doing an app like that, and we're about to release an emoji app, a paid emoji app, and here's what I'm going to have. I'm going to have a database of people on Instagram. I'm going to have email addresses, either by email login or Facebook login, to anybody that buys the paid emoji app. I'm going to have a Facebook page of people that are going to like that are in the app. I'm going to have about 6 or 7 highly focused niche groups on Facebook that are going to know about the app, and so on. I'm going to have all these points of contact where if one goes down, or if I need to update or Facebook reach or whatever, or emails I can't deliver, I can go to a group, and I won't be hung out sort of to dry by myself like I did with this app that has 500,000 downloads. So the next thing, I knew this was going to be a long one, but and I'll probably lose my voice, is we'll end it with that. I wrote a 3-part blog series on part 1, earn more cash, why you should collect user contact information. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff you're probably familiar with on the digital side. Maybe you're not doing a lot of automation, but you're understanding that there's a process to keep people engaged. And if you bring this over to the app side, you're going to do well, because it's just having multiple. There's a lot of content in here. How to monetize your users with email. If I had an old app with this 500,000 downloads, and I had 500,000 email subscribers, which would be pretty expensive monthly, but even if I didn't have another app to launch to them, do you not think? Well, I'm telling you, I do have things that I can market to them. Affiliate product, physical products, coaching there's things that could be sold to them, but I have no way of reaching them, so I have to start over, and it's going to take a long time to get to 500,000 downloads. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There's one last thing. So in summary, to this point, I'm on the same page as far as on the digital side and things like that, but I think instead of coming over to the app development side and what do I have to change, I think you just need to bring more or a lot of what you already have over to the app side and apply it, and you're going to be ahead of most people, because most people are just going to think they have to develop an app and release an app and that's it. And it's like, no, you need to have like a whole network to reach these people and engage with these people. It's like me, when I send an app update now, it'll be different with the app we're about to release, but in the past it's like we have thousands of downloads to a specific app and I have new emojis I'm going to release. Of course they're going to get the app update notification on Apple, but the top 200-300 people out of these thousands are going to get an email. Well, it would be better if I had all the email addresses of all my app users. So app update, send in an email, I'm posting on the Facebook page, and we're getting all those. Maybe it's a free update. Maybe there's an in-app purchase pack in it. There's got to be ways to get what you want to get in front of people instead of just counting on one thing or the old ways. So here's what I'm going to end this question with and the video with. You're asking about mindset. So this is actually the sales page of Make a Jackpot Slots template, and it's talking about this secret. And the reason I laugh is because everything I write here is true. It's a little bit longer on how long, the months, almost 2 years, but this is a big one. So you always have the next idea that would change it all. Sound familiar? So pause the video if you want to read this, but non-specific things. So this is what I'm talking about. So a little advice, I'm not going to read all this, but a little advice I wish I would have taken in my younger days of app development, back when I was making those mistakes, like the 500,000 users that I can no longer contact that would do well if I could. Whatever you do, avoid these avoid these 5 things. So number 1, building your entire business off things, off blog posts and podcasts, like building your entire business, listening to me and listening to other people. So read this. Not setting up your apps to monetize in today's market. I'm very guilty of that in the past. Thinking you need overnight success and those other people just got lucky. And then this is a good one. Thinking you need more downloads than you really do. So this was for a free app, but now we're doing a lot of paid apps. So I think I'm not going to publish an emoji app less than $3.99. The last one we did, I think it was $4.99, and based on the market or the niche I was in, it was well received, and I knew it would be well received because I asked if they would pay $4.99 to a small group beforehand. So when you're charging $4.99 for an app, it adds up. I was talking to somebody recently. I'm not going to get into who it was or why I was talking to them, but they're saying, yeah, we're focused on such and such because last year it did 500,000 and it was a $3.99 app. And then you go look at the app and you're like, well, it's a pretty cool app. I didn't know it was a $500,000 app a year. So make sure you're monetizing and pricing things or what they're worth. I think theirs is well positioned. It's just it doesn't have to be $500,000 a year to make a big difference, is what I'm saying. So trying to figure everything out by yourself. So if you're watching this video, you're not trying to figure everything out yourself because you're kind of checking out what other people are doing and you're asking questions, so it's good. But that's about it. I'm about to lose my voice. I appreciate the questions from everybody. This is probably going to be more of a longer one. I'd like to keep this, under 30 minutes next time, but it's kind of a first release. So the takeaway from this whole thing is if we're going to do more episodes, let me know. Like if you're watching this video right now, hopefully, I sent it out to you. If you submitted a question through email, you're going to get it. But hit reply and let me know, like, hey, I'd like it to be, do rapid fire questions, not as much explanation, have the video be 15 minutes, have it be 30. It's okay if it's 50 minutes long and you do it a few times a month. Hey, we want this every week. Hey, we want it every few weeks. hey, here's more questions. Hey, this wasn't helpful at all. It was helpful a little. Like, just give me some feedback, because I'm more than happy to put a few of these out, not knowing the response, just, to answer these questions, but I'm not going to continue to do it, for a year or years, if no one cares. And no, not necessarily if no one cares. I don't really care if a large amount of people care. I'm saying if the people that I actually did the video for aren't getting anything out of it, then I either need to find a newer way to a better way to communicate, shorten it up, or change something, or maybe just individually reply to you with like a 5-minute video or audio message through email. So I don't care how it happens. I'll just do what you want me to do once I get some feedback. So if you don't give me feedback, I can't adapt, I can't change, and I can't get better. So lay it on me, good or bad, and I really appreciate your time. So this is Todd, MoneyFromApps.com. Have a wonderful day. See ya.